Hey, everybody, it's John Moore with the Texas College Football Show, and we are going to get into some transfer portal rumors and action. What's going on in the transfer portal? I'm not a transfer portal prediction guy. I'm loving this though. I've been watching this as every bit of it's gotten going. I've kind of been watching this entire thing. As we've started going here, it's been absolutely ludicrous to watch what's going on. It's kind of like free agency. And my first gig in the media whatsoever was covering the Texas Rangers. Hey, by the way, hit the subscribe button down there below. Hit Fanatics View. Fanatics View is a great platform for all your videos, for all your favorite sports. We're going to start some new stuff. We're going to have some shows. We're going to have a Texas Longhorn show, a Texas A&M show, a Texas Tech Red Raider show, maybe some more Big 12, TCU and Baylor. We're looking for some people there to maybe jump on here and do a weekly show during the football season, because for the college football show. Anyway, that's hopefully coming up. We haven't locked anything down. We're going to be doing a high school show, talking about some high school, getting with some coaches and players and recruits and stuff like that. But for the Texas College Football Show, we cover the FBS Texas college football teams. There are 13 of them in the FBS. We counted them down all year, from 13 down to 1 until the end of the season. Only a couple are still playing. One of them just in a bowl game. The other one's still in the playoffs and in the hunt for the national championship. But I thought I want to get into the portal today. So the transfer portal, there's a lot of activity and a lot of rumors going on out there. And so what I wanted to do that, let me just kind of say what we're going to do going into this. First of all, we're going to go into first, just the two biggest names. First, we're going to talk about people leaving the Texas FBS, the FBS schools. Now, every school in the Texas FBS has players that have hit the transfer portal, but there are some names that were a little surprising, and there's some others that were starters. And I'm going to point out a few of those starters that will make contributions elsewhere, and one of them may not make a contribution elsewhere, but he's an intriguing name, and I like him. He's not an intriguing name. He's an intriguing player, and I like him. And he was the starting quarterback for a team this year, and that's why I brought him up in this. After we go through that, we're going to talk about the top two that have hit the portal so far, and where the rumors are that they are going and where they could go. And then at the very end, there are two huge, probably two of the biggest names in all of the transfer portal that are linked to two schools in the Texas FBS as possible destinations. They're quarterbacks, you know them, they're national quarterbacks. There are some rumors that they are coming, and if they do, it's huge for both of these programs. One in particular, because they're still in the national championship, and they're going to have to replace a quarterback. And there's some rumors about this quarterback but there's also these rumors going around of these other schools who might be interested in them. And this is kind of like the coaching carousel. Once some of these players start going, other players are going to have to fill these spots, because there are a lot of schools especially there's a few schools in the Texas FBS that are going to be replacing quarterbacks this year. There are some schools already know who their quarterbacks are going to be. They're not going to be losing anyone to the portal or anything like that. But there are other schools that are just rebuilding and going from here in what they want to do. So let's talk about the two biggest names that are out there. Two biggest names out there are Drew Mestemaker and Josh Hoover from North Texas. Mestemaker from North Texas, Hoover from TCU. A bit of a surprise on Hoover. It kind of floored me, although he was toyed with last year. There was a little bit of him, some flirting with him last year. But Mestemaker and Hoover are the two biggest names that are leaving the Texas FBS. Maybe they're going to stay within the FBS, within the Texas College Football Show parameters. I don't know, but there are rumors they're going elsewhere. Let's start with Drew Mestemaker. Obviously, Mestemaker threw for 4,374 yards, 34 TDs, and 9 interceptions this year. Everyone knows what he does. He was all AAC. This kid is unbelievable. Now, there are a lot of rumors of where he could be possibly going, but there's one link in particular, that everyone seems to think. Now, I'm not a transfer portal prediction guy. I don't know how to predict these. Unlike baseball, where I can see fits here and there, I have to go listen to the other experts as I'm learning this as we go. But there's one obvious one to me. It was obvious, and that was obviously Oklahoma State University, because his coach, Eric Morris, left and went to Oklahoma State. And it's obvious Eric Morris is one of these guys that discovers these quarterbacks. When he was assistant coaches and when he was at Carnet Word, he discovered Cam Ward. When he was at Washington, John Mateer, he was an assistant coach there. He's brought in these other guys that have gone other places, these big names that had played at other places that were linked to Eric Morris. And here he pulls a kid who never started in high school. He never started a varsity game in high school. He was a JV quarterback, never started in varsity. He was a safety. He walks on at North Texas. He leads the country in passing, in passing. And it's obvious to think that since Eric Morris has gone to Oklahoma State, this is probably where he's going to go, because, the guy that discovered him, that gave him the chance, let's go there. Hold your horses, because if you go around the other, I don't know, the rumor mill and other teams out there, there are 3 other teams that have shown interest in Drew Mestemaker. And look, if it comes down to money, Cam Warren ended up going somewhere where Eric Morris wasn't, right? John Mateer's not where Eric Morris is right now. I mean, these players that have played for Eric Morris, who he kind of tutored, he was a wide receiver himself, but who he kind of tutored as quarterbacks, have all ended up going somewhere else to try to take that next step if they want to go to the next level. Now, the first team that there have been some grumblings about, this one surprised me, but it kind of makes sense with what this guy's done, and that's Kurt Cignetti up at Indiana. There's some rumors that Drew Mestemaker might be a target for Cignetti up there. Now, he's already done that with Fernandez this year, and what he's done with him. Quarterbacks go there, and I think Drew Mestemaker has 3 years of eligibility. This is somebody that has played in the lights. He's played well. There's rumors him going there. Another name where he could go and just totally have some success, and that's a Josh Heupel over at Tennessee. There's some rumors that Tennessee might be a place that Drew Mestemaker could end up. Now, he's more of a pocket passer, not a dual threat, but Heupel is good at tutoring. I mean, look what he did with Hoover, Hendon Hooker. And, this year he had, what's his name, that's there this year. And also, good Lord, guys, my mind goes blank sometimes. I'm so sorry. The week, Nico, who's out at UCLA, he was also there, and I guess Tennessee didn't pay him, so he ended up going out to UCLA. But this is another one where he could go and shine. They're going to be looking for a quarterback this year. Tennessee is. Mestemaker put up those numbers, and in that offensive there, that could be someone. Now, there's one more school. This one kind of surprised me too. But look at Cam Ward and what he did, and it's Miami. Miami's going to be looking. Carson Beck's going to be graduating this year. He's probably going to the NFL. I don't know that he'll be a high pick there. Obviously, he's not been the top quarterback in the country. He's just kind of been a placeholder. But this is another place that some people are saying Mestemaker might be. He might be someone that is coveted at Miami. And if Oklahoma State has to get into a bidding war for some of these players, no, it won't be look, you can't blame a kid if the difference between going to Oklahoma State and the guy that discovered you and going to Miami, Tennessee, or even Indiana is about $500,000 to $1 million. There's no talking or discussing it, right? What if Miami offers him $2 million or $3 million like they did Carson Beck to come there? Oklahoma State's not going to do that. Tennessee might do that. Indiana pays a little money there. They're not afraid to spend some money. That's a place to go. Now, the second biggest name to leave is Josh Hoover at Tennessee, or at TCU. This one surprised me. Now, last year, though, Josh Hoover's name was being mentioned at Tennessee, and there was some flirting with Tennessee last year, and all of a sudden, he ended up staying with TCU. Well, he's already interested. He's entered the portal. He's thrown for 3,400 yards, 29 TDs, 13 interceptions. There are some schools that are already talking about where some people think that there are some. I've seen some of these shows that do these national shows with talking heads that do national shows who have said that he might be the best quarterback in the portal. Now, it's surprising to me. There's obviously some with more talent or raw talent, but they're saying polished and accomplished. Maybe Josh Hoover is the guy. He might be a guy that might just come in right away and thrive. Now, there's a couple of schools. Obviously, Tennessee will be after him again if they don't get Mestemaker, and maybe that's not even their top choice. Maybe Hoover's their top choice that they didn't get last year, and they're willing to step up this year because they want to improve at the quarterback play. Now, Hoover's a gunslinger. He will throw some interceptions on you, but he thrives and he does well, and he stayed close to home at TCU. But now another name, this is another guy whose name is Hoover's name's been mentioned up at Indiana with Signetti. Going into that situation, you talk about well coached. Indiana's well coached. They get talent, and they've gone out and hit the portal hard and done well, but they have been well coached. Now, the one that's really intriguing to me, now there's been a lot of rumors of a guy that's going to go to this school, but there's also some talk that maybe this coach, who's the biggest coach that moved this offseason, maybe Hoover is somebody that he likes even more than Sam Levitt, who everybody seems to be thinking is going to be going there, and that's LSU. Hoover's been rumored with some LSU rumors. Now, that's crazy to me, but Hoover's an accomplished quarterback. Which, going there, I don't know. I don't make predictions. I would guess that somewhere like Tennessee, since they went for him last year with Mestemaker, I would guess, someone said, John, you have to. Either you do it or we're going to blow up your house. Mestemaker, I would say Oklahoma State, obviously, because he's going to follow Eric Morris. If I had to do that with Hoover, I would probably guess Tennessee, since Tennessee was so into Hoover last year and looking to upgrade again this year. And get him in for the spring. That's who my guess would be. I think that if they flirt with him this year, they're going to flirt a little harder. Now let's look at some guys that are leaving. I don't know where these guys are going. It's intriguing for me. I can throw some places out there that might be intriguing, but I just don't know. I haven't really looked at the rumor mill where they might go, but there's some intrigues. The biggest ones that have lost are the Texas Longhorns. They've lost 3 guys that contributed humongously this year. And, I'm going to get out of the way of that one. One of those is Trey Wisner. You got DeAndre Moore and Leona Lafau. Leona Lafau, who was a starter at middle linebacker, a little surprising when he entered the portal. I think what happened with all these guys, especially with Wisner, I think Wisner believes that he's about $1 million back, and he probably – maybe he should be and could be, but I think Texas looked at it and said, Trey, we love you. We love you to death. But to be a $1 million back, you need to be a featured back or the featured back of our system. And you really were kind of thrown into that because Baxter was hurt. I think everyone thought Baxter was going to be the starter coming into the year, who, by the way, he transferred also, and they didn't see it. I think Wisner goes out and looks for that $1 million somewhere. He may not get it. This may be a guy that comes back at about $500,000 to Texas when he finds out that market's not there for him. But let me tell you what, SMU might want Wisner. I've heard some rumors about that. Maybe he goes up to Lubbock. You want to talk about somebody going to Lubbock. Leona Lafau, look, he was an SEC middle linebacker who had a tremendous year, and everybody knows that Jacob Rodriguez is leaving up at Texas Tech. Leona Lafau may be somebody that Texas Tech looks at in that system to replace one of these leaders that's not just a leader on the field, but he's a leader among his teammates and what he does. They already had that in Rodriguez. Maybe Lafau gets him, and Texas Tech will spend some money on you. DeAndre Moore, I don't get a feel for where he's going. I think this was more about the NFL wasn't going to be someplace that he would actually, he's been at Texas for a couple of years. Is he NFL eligible? He may not be this year, but I think that he was not getting offered the money he thought. And I think the Longhorns are going to go into the portal and get a wide receiver, or get a big name wide receiver. There's a couple from Auburn that might be hitting the portal. You're hearing some other names out there, especially from the kid Moore from Florida that could hit the portal. And at running back, there's all this talk about Jaden Ball and stuff like that Texas might be looking at. I don't know that Texas looks at that. I really don't know where they go at running back, but they are going to go into the portal for it. Now, who are some other teams that are losing big names? Well, look at, North Texas is losing Mestemaker. They're losing both Caleb Hawkins and Wyatt. Let me get my picture out of there. And Wyatt Young. Two guys that led their team in receiving and rushing. Now, Caleb Hawkins might be somebody Texas looks at for sure. This is a kid that wasn't highly recruited out of high school. He's a true freshman. Look what he did. This might be a place where he goes and gets a few $100,000 to be a contributing back at Texas and play on the big stage. I don't think he would be the feature back. He could be. I mean, look at the yards he put up. And it was against inferior competition, but he would have a good offensive line ahead of him there at the SEC. Wyatt Young, someone there, that's poised right there to go to Oklahoma State, in my opinion, to follow his coach up to Oklahoma State, or maybe somewhere like Texas Tech. Maybe he goes to a bigger Big 12 school, something like Baylor or TCU, something like that, goes right down the road. He put up some big numbers there. Another couple of guys that are leaving, one of the linebackers from Baylor, Keaton Thomas, he had 62 tackles and 1 sack this year. One of the better names at linebacker that Baylor's leaving. I don't have a feel for where he's going, but he did start all season for Baylor this year. He has hit the portal. I don't know if he sees greener pastures at another Big 12 school. Maybe he goes to a G5 school where he can just throw up some, being the big dog on a campus somewhere. I don't know. There'll be some money out there for him. And obviously in a situation like this, where Baylor likes him, they may not have been offering the money, or his agent is hearing some names like that. Another one that's intriguing to me is Houston Thomas from UTSA. He's the tight end at UTSA who just announced that he's going into the portal also. This is a kid who was born and raised in College Station, wasn't recruited by the Aggies, has done well at UTSA. He hasn't put up, tight end isn't a huge position at Texas or Texas A&M, but a good tight end can turn that into an NFL job. And maybe he goes home to A&M where he gets a few $100,000. He goes there. I don't know A&M's tight end situation right now. They've got a good one. I think he's not going anywhere, but this could be a contributor there, or he's obviously getting some activity from somewhere that he has decided to hit the portal. And obviously maybe UTSA, he ends up back at UTSA. If you hear these numbers, you hear people there, just January 2nd is going to be interesting. And then let's go to the last name. This is the guy I was talking about. It was intriguing to me. He hit the portal. He was the starting quarterback at Rice. His name is Chase Jenkins. Look, he only totaled 1,400 yards, and that's total. He threw for about 1,000 yards. He rushed for about 500 yards. And about 14 TDs total. I think he threw for 9 and ran for 5, something like that. Now, Rice is an academic school. Scott Abel has a tough job there at Rice University, but this was their starter all year long. Now, why is he leaving? Has he gotten some activity from somewhere? He's obviously a very smart young man to go to Rice, because they do require certain requirements to get into Rice, even though he's athletic. He's from Katy, Texas. He's obviously a bright young man. Are there some Ivy League schools that want to upgrade at quarterback, and they see this kid like Chase Jenkins? What if he ends up at Harvard or Yale or something like that? I'm intrigued to see why he entered the portal. Maybe Rice told him, hey, we've got somebody that we're going to go after, the smart, that's a little more athletic, that might move him from the quarterback position, and he wanted to stay at quarterback. Maybe he's going somewhere to be a receiver or a running back. I don't know. He's a smart and bright kid. Look for somewhere bright and where the academics are going to be high for him. Maybe he's going somewhere not to play quarterback. Vanderbilt. Maybe at Vanderbilt he's going to go up there and be a running backup. And Vanderbilt's very academic. Stanford's another academic school that he might be looking to. But I'm intrigued, and it's why I put his name in here. I don't know why or where he entered the portal. He was their starter all year, and I'm intrigued if maybe there's some offer out there, and maybe it's Ivy League. And I'm pulling for this kid. You're playing D1 football at an academic school with a coach that's more of a veer option type guy. Maybe there's a service academy that wants to get Chase Jenkins in there. Now, they don't offer money. You get full rides there, and that's what it is there. So who knows? Now, Now we're going to get into the rumors about some guys that are rumored to be coming here. Probably one of the biggest names coming out is DJ Lagway, and he has been tied to Baylor University. Now, DJ is, the Florida experiment. He Summerall's coming there. He talked to Summerall. He decided to leave. His dad played for Baylor. And look, he's probably, of the quarterbacks that have hit the portal, he is without a doubt the most raw, talented quarterback. He's a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school. Grew up he's from Texas. He's a Texas kid. So Baylor would be home. His dad played at Baylor. He probably grew up a Baylor fan because of his dad. So his name's there, but don't count your chickens before the eggs hatch. That's the big saying, because there are 3 schools that are rumored to be also in on him. One of them is obviously LSU and Lane Kiffin. TCU's another school. It's a local school. If he didn't go to Baylor and he ended up going to TCU, that would be intriguing. But that's a school that's been in on him, and TCU has money. I don't think people understand. They got some money to spend, and he's another name that Miami has been in on. So we're hearing some Miami stuff there. This will be intriguing. We know he's hitting the portal January 2nd. It's official. I'm sure he's already got some stuff negotiating in the background, although technically they are not supposed to be talking to these guys. It wouldn't surprise me if he's already close to a deal going there. Now, this next one, probably would be one of the biggest scores of anybody in this transfer portal, and that would be Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati. He has been rumored to be at Texas Tech and going there. His girlfriend has already committed to Texas Tech. I believe she's a volleyball player, and she's already going to Texas Tech. It seems like this is going to happen. Let me tell you right now, Texas Tech's got to not only replace some guys on that defensive team, but they have got to replace Brendan Baron Morton. And this guy right here is better than Baron Morton. Right now, he's better than Baron Morton. He just didn't have the surrounding talent. This would be a unbelievable pickup for Texas Tech. That would right away, Brendan Sorsby going to Texas Tech. I would, with the Big 12 and the state of the Big 12 and where I think the Big 12 is, Texas Tech would not only be favored to win the Big 12, which they probably are likely going to be anyway, next year. I would pick them. Their schedule's not hard again. This is a team that would be an automatic, probably top 4 team going into the CFP again next year. And doing that, especially if they pick up some good defensive players. One thing we know that Texas Tech will do is they will spend money. They will spend money. Now, with that being said, and them going to Texas Tech, where if I had to lay money, this is where I would think. Everybody's talking about him going there. Texas Tech will write a check for Brendan Sorsby to go there. And this is who apparently they want. He has accomplished. He played at Indiana too, but he's accomplished at Cincinnati. I think he has 2 years of eligibility. He could come in. He might be I think there's some NFL interest, but there are 2 other schools that are apparently interested in Brendan Sorsby. And if you're going to get in a bidding war, one of them has some money, and that's Oregon. And Tennessee is the other. Now, both of them could put money out there. Now, I'm not saying they're going to outspend Texas Tech, because Texas Tech is spending money. But sometimes in this situation, Brendan Sorsby has to do what's best for Brendan Sorsby. Now, look, he goes to Texas Tech. I don't think it diminishes the fact that he's probably an NFL prospect, because I think he is. I think he's won this year too. But they do look at the competition you play, and the competition in the Big Ten and the competition in the SEC is different than the competition in the Big 12. Now, these guys, you look at what Josh Heupel's done. You look at what Lanning has up there, and the now, one thing that's going to hurt Oregon is they're losing both their offensive and defensive coordinators, are both taking head coaching job at smaller schools. So, but Heupel has been known to have some success with these guys. Now, I've also heard that LSU might be in on Brendan Sorsby, but I think they've got 2 other guys in their sight, so I don't think it'll go there. I've also kind of heard maybe Miami might look at Sorsby going there. I think Texas Tech is the best fit. I think Texas Tech he's not going to look, he's going to get paid no matter what, and Texas Tech will pay him. And if Texas Tech gets Brendan Sorsby, that is going to be huge. It is a huge deal. And if they don't get him, I wouldn't be surprised if Hoover's not a name. Look, they're going to spend money. Texas Tech is going to spend money. They just are. And so Brendan Sorsby going to Texas Tech is a big one. Everyone's predicting that. I think so too. If I had to predict, I would think he's going to Texas Tech right there. Now, this is the first transfer portal show. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. I'm going to try to do some updates as we go on this. When new guys enter the portal, that's about to happen, especially when some of these bowl games in. You're starting to see more of these guys hit the portal. And when January 2nd comes, we'll do some hot takes or some shorts that day on where these guys go, especially when it involves the Texas College Football Show area and the schools in the state of Texas that are doing that. Guys, thanks once again for doing this. Till the next one, we're going to one thing we're going to do, we're going to recap the season with each individual team, kind of get some people from each school to come on, and whether you had a good season or a bad season, talk about what worked, what didn't work, what happened, who you're losing in the portal, who you think they'll get. We're kind of trying to, let's wait till the portal season's over and before we start doing that. And then we're looking at getting some people from each school. We've had some guys on this year. We want to get some people committed that cover these teams to come on and do it. And especially for the larger schools, the Big 12 schools and SEC schools and SMU also that plays in the ACC. Maybe some weekly shows with some co-hosts from those schools that can come on and talk about the school, that are more informative about that school and know the ins and outs of the coaching staff and everything going on there. Guys, thanks for doing this one. Until next time, we will see you on the gridiron.